And for you then, how do you look back now on the previous one and then compare it to this new one? How do you look back on it now, the previous one?
Well, like I say, they all had their own time frame. They were all, the earlier albums were all mid 90s, and they kind of reflect the essence of the time, where we were, who we were with, who we recorded it with, how we were feeling. Obviously in the older ones have a real sort of zealous, youthful vibe to them. But I've seen each album as a progression, and to avoid getting into one of those ruts where, because you're never really one of these bands where you can predict what we're going to do next, because it's just, if you start doing that, I think people become a little bored. And so everything has been a progression. For example, we did want to do an album that was very symphonic and huge, and it took us up until the point when we got signed to Sony to be able to realise that dream, because obviously they had this. And so we took ourselves off to Budapest in Hungary and worked with this fantastic sort of 100-piece orchestra.
I think it was in 2003?
Yeah, it was 2003, so it was only like 3 years ago. But, 4 years ago, sorry, because it was recorded in 2002. Yeah. I started thinking, bloody hell, missed an album out here.
Yeah. And so then you did, then you had that album, and then you switched to Roadrunner.
Yeah.
And then you recorded Nymphetamine.
Yeah.
Was there some kind of reaction to?
No, you know what, the
Sony
thing was great. They merged with BMG, so it enabled us to just walk away from them, because we would have been caught up in their whole, moving from one thing to another. It would have been 6 months before we even got back into the studio. We'd just returned from headlining the B stage and the American Ozfest, and we were hungry. We'd been out, we were hungry to write some new material, so we just basically left them. As simple as that. Roadrunner were waiting in the wings, had been wanting to sign the band for quite some time. So we just went straight to them, and Nymphetamine was just a different path for us. We'd been out for a long time on the road in support of, literally a year in support of Damnation and a Day, and I think that came across in the music. We didn't want to do Damnation and a Day Part 2. We didn't want to, be stuck in a rut where people felt we had to have all this sort of glorious orchestration and real, choirs, and so Nymphetamine was really an answer to that. It was more stripped down, more live, more attention to each individual song, because Damnation in a Day was a soundtrack. Was like a concept, and the soundtrack to a concept obviously may impair a few songs, because you're trying to, put the pieces together in a sort of sonic jigsaw. Nymphetamine was a bit more connected to each individual track, and therefore the move to the new album has just taken that one more step further. It's actually taken it one more step further and broadened or widened our horizons, because obviously there's some things that are immediately different about it, i.e. normally cover versions are reserved for special editions and B-sides, and they'll be of a metallic nature. It would be someone like we've done a Slayer cover, we've done a Bathory cover, we've done a Maiden cover, This time we would do something that was so far removed and then turn it to our own, kind of sound.
But how come you picked this song of Heaven 17? How come?
Because
it's called Temptation, yeah?
Yeah, well, because the lyricism is very ambivalent. It's not... If we were to do, like Thriller by Michael Jackson, the lyrics would sound silly, because it's the funk of 40,000 years. It just would not come out of my mouth right. But Temptation, the lyrics are very ambivalent, and it works. It can pass off as, Cradle of Filth kind of ethos. But no, we chose it not because we were a fan of the song. We saw the potential in it. And originally it did start off as a bit of a joke, but then people worked on it and it was like, well, this is really quite good. Henceforth, why in the end, after the mix and after we drafted Harry in, the female vocalist, it sounds great. That's why it's on the album. That's why we're shooting a video for it next week, which is the first video to be shot from the record.
But isn't it strange for you to pick this song and not one of your own, maybe? Now, for the first video?
Well, we've actually got extra songs which, after we shoot the video next week, we go back and finish mixing with the guy who mixed on the album, which was Andy Sneap. So it wasn't a case of, oh, we've agreed to do it. It was a case of we had a bulk of songs and we thought, wow, this sounds great.
Okay.
Let's put it on for once. Same with the instrumental. I mean, that's the first time we've ever done an instrumental. We've got Villa Valor from him singing on The Byronic Man. And again, that's like, people were like,
But how come?